Hello readers, welcome back to PJL Books and welcome to today's Off the Shelf. Today's Off the Shelf continues and indeed concludes yesterday's topic with saying it best. Now last week we looked at that tug of war in the writing world revolving around the usage of the word said. Should it be avoided at all costs, or should it be the only dialogue tag you use? With a few demonstrated examples we came to the conclusion that the answer is somewhere in between. Where that happy medium is exactly is hard to pinpoint. In all honesty, it most likely depends on your genre and your prescribed writing style. But it must be said that it is better to err on the side of said as opposed to using fanciful dialogue tags. Because the unique thing about the word said is that, ironically, it doesn't say anything. It's such an inconspicuous word that readers glance right over it. In a way, it acts more like a punctuation mark, like a full stop or a comma, than an actual word, servicing as nothing more than a marker to indicate that dialogue is happening here. Use that to your advantage. Rejoice in the fact that there is this nigh invisible word that you can use to tag your dialogue with minimum faff. But wait, you might say, didn't we conclude last time that using only said is a bad thing because it is dry and emotionless? We did. However, the common mistake here is the belief that single word dialogue tags are the only means of description you have at your disposal. Let's look again at the dialogue exchange that used only said. Now I'm going to put it up on the screen now as well as read it aloud this time. Let's look at the first few sentences. "Jill, what are you doing?" said Jack. Jill twisted around, tears rolling into the bucket in her hands. "Stay back," she said. "Don't come any closer." "Don't be stupid, Jill," said Jack, stepping closer. "Put the bucket down. It's not worth it." Now, which part here is the most effective, would you say? For me, it's the sentence which describes Jill's tears rolling into the bucket. Not great, but certainly the strongest moment in that passage. Whereas the other sections have little for the reader to go on in terms of the tone and feel of the exchange, this little bit of flavour text provides a vivid image of what is happening, not just the words being exchanged. And all in spite of the fact that said was also used here. Now this is much better than using a fanciful dialogue tag like, say, admonished or declared, which makes the dialogue feel awkward, as though the speaker is putting on a certain voice while remaining physically still. In that sentence of the tears dripping into the bucket, however, the action carries the weight of the image painted in the reader's mind, which itself informs the way in which the speaker speaks. One who is crying is going to speak like someone who is, well, crying, if you follow me. You shouldn't overdo it, however. Not every passage of dialogue needs to be punctuated by an action, in the same way that not every action should be peppered with dialogue. It's a balancing act between allowing the dialogue to flow naturally and fortifying the text with enough imagery to bring it to life. The best approach is to simply imagine that scene, that dialogue playing out for real in your head and looking out for when those gestures and movements happen. When does this speaker rub their chin? When does that speaker scoff and turn away in disgust? So let's try that original Jack and Jill dialogue again, this time with these new rules in mind. Now, I'm going to put the writing on the screen and I'd like you to read this yourself in your head without speaking aloud. If I speak it aloud for you here, that kind of defeats the purpose of the exercise. So when the writing appears on the screen, please pause, and when you're done reading, please unpause. Well, what do you think? It's by no means perfect. I mean, by my own admission and style, it's a little melodramatic, yeah? But it's light years ahead of the previous two incarnations. So there you have it. The greatest criticism of the word said, that it is a word devoid of meaning and strength, is in fact its greatest strength. When paired with just the right amount of descriptive passage, you will come much closer to the perfect blend of vivid yet flowing dialogue, I said. And that's it for today's Off the Shelf. Thank you very much for listening, readers. The written version of this is on my website, the link of which is in the description below. Please check it out if you can. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.